Hello everyone, and today we're going to be changing out these steering wheel control buttons for these brand new ones. So let's get started. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to the passenger side, remove this floor mat. There's a kick panel under the glove box that we need access to, and that's where the smart junction box is. So let's go and remove this lower kick panel, and all you got to do is pull it right off like so. And as we get a little closer, you're going to see two flaps in a way. It's just held on by a piece of Velcro, so go ahead and lift it up and then move to the side. And as you can see right there, we have a fuse cover. So all you have to do is give it a nice little pull, and it should pop right off. There we go. And we're going to look at the front of the fuse cover, and we're going to look for fuse 31. And you may not be able to see it, but it's right there. So it's going to be about the bottom left area, which is a 10 amp fuse, and it's going to be that red fuse right there. So using some needle nose pliers, give it a little pull, and it came right out. And now we can make our way back to the driver's side. So let's turn on the ignition, and let's go ahead and check our indications. And you're going to look for the airbag indicator. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. And you want to make sure that airbag light is on for about 30 seconds. That will confirm that the RCM is disabled. And now that we confirm we pulled the right fuse, let's go ahead and turn off the ignition. Then let's go ahead and make our way to the hood latch so we can go ahead and pop the hood. And then we can make our way to the battery and disconnect the negative cable. So all you need is an 8mm socket and socket wrench. And we're going to go ahead and disconnect it and just move it off to the side. And as an important note, after we do this, we're going to wait about 1 minute just to make sure the backup battery has been discharged. So now that the airbag is safe to remove, let's go ahead and grab a trim removal tool and go and remove the airbag module bolt caps. And these pry right off. So let's see what we do without dropping. So there's one. Then move on to the driver's side. And see if we can do that one without dropping as well. And that's two. And you can see the bolt right there. So we're going to need an 8mm socket and a socket wrench. And I'm just using the extension just so I don't hit anything. And let's go ahead and loosen this up and take this bolt completely out. And it looks like it's loose. Let's see if I can take it out without dropping it. Alright, so there's one. Now let's go to the other side and see if I can loosen this one up as well. And come on. Alright, so that one's loose. Ah, I dropped it. It's alright, I can get it with my finger. And there's two. Okay, so now very gently, let's go ahead and pull on the airbag module. So go ahead and pull towards you. And I'm going to flip it over downward. I'm just getting a good grip on it so I can move the camera. And I could probably do somewhat of a side view. And you can see two wires sticking out of it. So you don't want to pull on those too much. We need to disconnect those airbag connectors. So all you got to do is pinch on them and then lift upward. So let's do this side first. Let's go ahead and pull upward. So there's one. And now let's go with the left side. All right, there's the second one. And I do apologize for the camera not being in focus. So now let's go ahead and move the airbag off to the side. And then let's go ahead and grab another trim removal tool, and we want to remove the spoke finish on the driver's side. I just picked the left just because of preference, and you want to get between the spoke and the steering wheel, and we're going to pry apart very gently. So I did the top, now let's see if I can do the bottom, and there we go. So we're starting to actually separate it, which is a good sign. Now I want to go on the outside of the steering wheel as well, and it doesn't need much. You just got to actually see about displacing it just a little bit. And almost there, and if you pry it enough, it should come right out just like so. And let's go back to the front view. So now that we have a better camera angle, let's go ahead and flip the switch over so we can disconnect the electrical connection. And using both hands and a fingernail, I want to go ahead and push down on that one tab and then inch it outward. So let's see if I can inch it out, almost there. And come on, there we go. And now we completely disconnected it. So now we can go ahead and remove the cruise control switches from the spoke itself. So here's what you got to do. You want to spread out the spoke or kind of separate it while pushing the switch outward. So I'm going to do it with my thumbs and there it goes. It comes out very easily. All you have to do is separate the spoke just barely. It's almost like you're prying it apart. So that's the old one, and there's the new one. And the new one's just as easy as an install as the old one came out. So all you have to do is take the spoke and put the switches in front of the spoke and press on the switches evenly. Kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm trying to do it without dropping it until it snaps in. And it looks just like that. Just that easy, nothing much to it. So now we can start putting everything back together. Let's go ahead and reconnect the control switches, and they should snap right in. Yep, looks pretty good. And now we can reinstall the spoke finish, and all you have to do is line it right up, make sure you don't pinch the wires, and all you have to do is press down, make sure it's nice and even, and it should fit on there like a glove. Perfect. And we're going to repeat the same steps on the right side as well, so we're going to pry the top apart. And let's see if I can get the bottom in there as well. This one was on there pretty tight. If you've never taken these off before, they're probably tight the first time. And it, come on. Come on. There it goes. Like I said, it was a little bit on there this time. And we'll disconnect the electrical connection, push on the tab and pull outward. Come on. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and remove the audio switch from the spoke. So go ahead and pry the spoke apart and push on the switch outward. And that one came out a little bit easier, so that's a good sign. So there's the old one, and there's the new one. And same thing, we'll start from the front. line it up, and push it right in. There's nothing really much to this. It's pretty easy. And yep, heard a snap. That looks pretty good. And looking at the switches, yep, they work pretty good. So now we can go ahead and connect our electrical connection. So go ahead and line that one up, and it should snap right in. And there we go. All right, so far so good. Now let's go and flip it over and install it. And again, this one presses right in. It's going to be a little bit snug, so you're just going to have to push it in evenly. And yep, that looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and move the camera more to the center. Now let's take a look at the wiring. If you look at it, you're going to see that it's routed right under these standoffs. That's what you want. You want to make sure this is not interfering with the airbag at all. You're pretty much putting it back the same way as you found it. Alright, so now we're almost done. Let's go ahead and connect the airbag module. So make sure you line it up so the pony is actually facing the right direction. And let's go ahead and connect the black connector to the right side. And it's color coded. You're going to see that the black goes with black and the white goes with white. And it's snapped right in. And all you have to do is press the airbag in until it's nice and lined up. Beautiful. So now we can reinstall our airbag bolts. So grab your 8mm socket, and we're going to see if we can feed this right in. And take your time, make sure it's in there straight and you're not cross-threading it. And yep, that feels pretty good. So we're going to tighten this up just until it's snug. So there's the right side. And we're going to do the same thing on the left side as well. Again, just till they're snug. And come on, there we go. Now let's go ahead and grab our torque wrench, and we're going to torque this down to 62 inch-pounds. Oh, so there's one click right there. Now let's go to the other side. And probably one more. There we go. So that's perfect. So now that they're torqued down, let's go ahead and install the caps. And these just press right in. So let's see if I can get in there. Alright, so there's one. And I'll go on the other side as well. Sorry for the shaky camera syndrome. And that's two. So with everything back together, let's go through the RCM power on procedure. So stick your key in the ignition and put it in the on position. And let's go ahead and reinstall that fuse. So it's fuse 31, which is a 10 amp fuse. And just place it right in there until it's flush, and perfect. And then we can go ahead and install the cover, and everything pushes right together. It's nothing much to it, just got to line it up. Alright, so there we go. Put our flaps back down, and using the Velcro obviously. And see if we can get both hands in there. And that looks pretty good. So now we can install our lower kick panel, and see if I can get it within the grooves. There we go, and then it should snap right in, give a little punch. And there we go. And for those of you who had floor mats or floor liners, we'll go ahead and put those back in. So now we can go ahead and reconnect the negative terminal on the battery. So go ahead and put that back on. Very nice. And then take your 8mm socket and socket wrench and tighten it up till it's snug. And there we go. Looks good. And now we can make our way back in the vehicle, turn off the ignition, and you're going to wait about 10 seconds. You want to make sure it's completely powered off. And then after your 10 seconds, we want to turn on the ignition and take a look at the airbag indicator warning. We want to make sure it turns on for about 6 seconds and then turns off. This will ensure everything's working properly and there's no faults detected. And it turned right off. That's perfect. And after testing all the buttons and everything lights up, looks like everything worked out perfectly, and that's all there is to it.